Hi guys, I'm Shmee. Hello to you and welcome back to the channel where this evening you rejoin me at RENNtech Europe because today is the day to pick up my newly upgraded RENNtech R760 AMG GT R. Now I'm beaming from ear to ear because the R760 literally represents 760 horsepower. That makes this the most powerful car that I have ever owned. It's quite frankly absurd. So let's take a look at the dyno chart. They took it for a run earlier. Have a look under the bonnet at the new turbos that have been installed. And then given that RENNtech Europe is right beside the Nurburgring Nordschleife, so long as this weather stays back, we can take the car and go for a couple of laps before we blast down the Autobahns to get back home. So let's go and take a look at the power numbers. Of course, the first thing that you'll notice is that the car has been completely de-stickered. I've been removing all of the Gumball 3000 logos, as well as the country camo design to bring it back to the solar dub yellow wrap by Dub Customs, and it's looking fantastic. Now, the thing you'd probably like to hear about are the power numbers, so let's get started with that. Now, the stock AMG GT R, with its front mid-engine 4-litre bi-turbo V8, makes 585 horsepower and 700 newton meters of torque. Now, we had already done the stage 1 RENNtech upgrade to this car, so that consisted of an ECU tune, the blow-off valve, and the downpipes that make it sound absolutely ridiculous. It took power up to 672 horsepower, so 87 horsepower more, and 797 newton meters of torque, almost 100 newton meters more. Well, the car now has had a newly updated ECU, and of course, the larger turbos that we'll come and have a look at in a second. But inside here, we have the dyno chart from the run that they have done, and you will see a max torque of 808 and a max power of 763 horsepower, so up towards the top end of the rev range, but you've got a lot of torque all the way through, so that is looking very, very promising, and that is thanks, if I just find the lever down here, to the upgrades that have been made underneath the hood. So let me lift this up. You can't see too much of this, but back there you have the new turbos. We had a quick look at them in the previous video. You can see the RENNtech logo just on the side. Basically, they have larger fans to push more air through, which makes them more efficient and more powerful, and it actually sounds even louder as well. So the GTR is now even more of a beast than it already was. As I said, the most powerful car, some interesting cars go past right now, that I have ever owned. And it is the same configuration as the car that RENNtech themselves took around the Nordschleife in 7 minutes and 4 seconds. That is right up there with some of the fastest cars, and really quite impressive for a rear-wheel drive machine. And that's potentially not even the last model on this platform. We'll see what the future has in store. But for the moment, let us jump in, because I'd quite like you to hear this. Believe me when I tell you now, the car is sounding mega. Well, don't say that I didn't warn you that it was going to be loud, and I'm very, very sorry to the headphone users amongst you, because I know quite how loud that is. I think it might even be louder than it was before the installation of these new turbos. But that is not the only thing, actually, that RENNtech have now equipped it with. They've installed another little treat for me that may potentially save the car in the future. So if you've been following my ownership of the GTR, you might remember that about 6 months ago, I had an issue where the intercoolers in the front bumper basically got pierced by a stone chip, which caused them to leak out and caused the car to have some heat issues, which meant that it had to be repaired. Well, RENNtech have come up with a solution for this. If you come round and take a look, behind the openings at the front, you will see they have installed a mesh that protects objects or stops objects flying in and damaging the intercoolers behind. This is actually how it's done, or very similar to how it's done on the Formula 1 safety car, which is of course an AMG GTR. So by having that on both sides, hopefully we're not going to have that problem again in the future. Anyway, time is marching on. You can see that it's getting a little bit darker, and I think the track actually closes in about 15 minutes time. So I better jump in, get my cameras ready, go for my first drive of the R760, and get out on the Nordschleife to see what this thing is like. I have just realised quite how close to closing the track is. So I need to get straight over there, otherwise I'm going to miss the opportunity to have a drive today. Now, that sound is intoxicating. Of course, I'm going to need the open road or the racetrack or the Autobahn to really experience the extra power. So it should have more torque up towards the top end, obviously a higher top speed. I've already been pretty quick in this car, up to 331 kilometers per hour. That's about 205 miles per hour. And I think now it should do 340 or so, which is moderately terrifying. In any case though, it's just a couple of minutes to get round, and then we'll be going straight onto the track. Goodness, that noise is so good. So can I go? Yeah, let's squeeze out. Now the thing to remember is that it's currently drizzling. It's getting dark and the road is going to be a little bit greasy. And in this car, I now have 760 horsepower just through the rear wheels, 2 contact points with the ground that are not yet warmed up. So I need to be pretty careful. This is not going to be a full out or a full on flat out lap. It's going to be a ginger leisurely one, I think. But in any case, it'll be fun to drive it around. So let's get up to the entrance, hope I've got some credit on my lap ticket, and get straight out there to experience it. Okay then, it's right at the very end of the day. So let us pop this in here, tap it on. Okay then, it's been a while since I've driven the Nordschleife, but I'm hopefully going to have this completely empty, all by myself at the end of the day. We're in individual mode, so manual on the paddles. Out we go then, foot down. Yeah, that's lighting up traction, like in a big way. Goodness me. This power is ridiculous. I would not be happy with traction control off right now. It's actually fully on, full baby nanny mode, which I think is probably the safest way to do it as we go through the first compression at 180. Okay then. I am really, really nervous for how slippy this is gonna be, but hey, we're out on the Nordschleife. This is what cars like this are made for, so gentle on the brakes. Let's tuck it in. Yeah, there we go, it's slipping already. Big time! This is the ultimate hooning machine. Just an absolute barrel of laughs to drive. Yeah, let's be careful! So this is the exact same configuration that did a 7-minute 4-second time round here. I suspect this is going to be a little bit nearer to maybe 10 minutes right now, because, well, I haven't driven it too recently and I want to go home in one piece, but this is all about having fun, and I can tell you right now, it is already an absolute laugh listening to those noises going off behind, the thunderous crackles. Easy on the brakes as we go around the corners. Unwind it. Goodness me, I'm super, super nervous, as you can probably tell. Sometimes you want to take a higher gear, just keeps the car a little bit more composed, and you have to remember we're going nearly 250 down here. This thing is so darn quick. As you go light round here, now one of the interesting bits coming up, we're going to have the foxhole, which is always a moderately scary place to drive. So as we come around here, holding on like 90-ish. Now this is where, wow, it's 150 already there. Goodness me. This is where when you get to the bottom, the last thing in the world you want to do is lift, except I'm actually going to brake as we come down to the bottom and then have my foot back on the throttle as we go through the compression and up the other side, even still at 170 through there. Now this is one of the few curves that you can take going around the Nordschleife, and then the cracks are so good, constant. This is astonishing. To 200 Ks just in nothing. I mean, the car is astonishing to begin with. And we've got yellow flags. Yellow flags often mean an incident has happened on the track ahead, or it's particularly slippy, there's been a spillage, or maybe it's raining, because after all it is the Nordschleife and you never know what's around the corner. So let's take it a little bit easy and see what has happened. It's so loud, it's so ridiculously loud and so punchy. The power, it's absolutely ridiculous, absolutely absolutely bonkers. Like foot flat now. My God, it just carries and carries and carries. That propulsion, that feeling on the neck from the torque that pushes you back into the seat. Takes some recalibrating, I tell you. So, here we've got our yellow flags. What has happened ahead? Do we have an incident? Yes, we do, unfortunately. Somebody has gone straight into a barrier here. So let us squeeze on through, past the incident. Good God. Oops, into the red line, my bad. But nonetheless, bit fun. Coming up now towards the carousel. I feel a bit sorry for that guy who's gone into the wall on the last lap of the day. In these conditions, that was always going to be the risk. Wow. And here you get on the brakes hard, get ready to dip into the carousel, right about there. Hold it in, looking up, keeping on the bumpy section. You don't want to come out too early, hold it in, and out we go. We come down towards Brunchen then, the famous place where just about everyone crashes. Especially on the exit up here. We're good, we're nice and safe. This course is so freaking technical. Brake, off, brake again. You need to know exactly what you're doing before you can take it around here at any significant speed. Just which way the corners go as you go over these blind crests. It's amazing how I haven't driven it just for a couple of months and already I'm needing to work out again where exactly I am on the track. You have to drive this so regularly to keep a full grasp on where exactly it goes and what you need to do, but still the speed I feel like I'm carrying through here is really quite something. He says, firm on the brakes here. Nearly ran a little bit quick there. Gave me the opportunity for a few extra downshifts, which of course is nothing to complain about. We've got little carousel. Coming up to the very end of the lap now. In we go, out we come. I tell you what, it's so fast, I don't expect it to get up to the red line so quickly. That's taking some learning to get used to. And round we go around the last corner. To be honest, I'm going to let the brakes cool, take it easy, as we then come up towards the gantry that marks the end of the lap. So, the power is ridiculous, as expected. The ring is now closed, but I got my lap in, and what can I say? What a car. What an absolute machine of a car. And now we're going to have the Autobahns to get back home. All right then, now the bus tours go out next, which is always hilarious. But that was incredibly good fun. So let's just have a quick whiz around the car park to see what else is lurking around here. A couple of GT3s right there, so actually I should go and pull in next to those. I think one might belong to a friend. Here I am then, parked up outside Devil's Diner, and we're joined by two brand new 991.2 GT3 RSs, both of which were collected from Porsche Leipzig literally yesterday, and they've driven them here to the Nurburgring on the temporary number plates, black with gold wheels, Visac packages, and we're all going to go for dinner together in a moment. So I better jump in the car and join and head on over. Very much the end of the day here. That does sound cool, doesn't it? Right, back in here, the noise of which is monstrous, as we have experienced. Get this started up. There we go, rock and roll. We've had a small change of plans, so clearly it's getting dark, and what we've decided to do is to hit the roads to Frankfurt. So I am convoying with the GT3 RS and with some photographer guys as well. We're basically just going to hit the Autobahns and get ourselves down towards Frankfurt. So we'll see what happens and what this car is like to drive at higher speed, because it is very busy here at the Nurburgring. It's always busy here at the Nurburgring, but I guess a quieter day today with the weather, not so many people driving out on the track. Interesting experience for me though, and the thing I don't like about the GTR, by the way, is the brakes. They are very, very weak, and even doing that, you could start to feel a loss in pressure of the brakes, and I was pretty gentle on them. And obviously it's slightly wet and cold as well, so that is probably the next thing to upgrade if I want to do more track sessions with it. For now though, let's escape the Eiffel Mountains and get to some clear and hopefully traffic-free Autobahns. Here we go then, so onto the Autobahn, this way towards the south, lots of downshifts, including under the bridge there, which is always good fun. So I don't necessarily know where it's going to be de-restricted, and of course it is now night time, But in any case, goodness me, yes, it's limited. This intersection is limited actually as we come out, but wow, it's quite hard for me to see. The lane is clear, but looks like it is. Away we go. Yeah, the car throttles you back if you run into the red line and try and shift too hard or kick in traction. It will basically make a complete mess, which is computers saving you. Anyways, let's wait for a de-restricted section. Here we go then, onto a completely de-restricted Autobahn. So, let's take third gear for a moment. It's a little bit drizzly right now, I've got to be a bit sensible about that. My goodness, the propulsion is ridiculous. Okay, that's 200 kilometers an hour, just like that. In the easiest way probably ever done by this car. This is unbelievably fast. My goodness, foot flat, this is ridiculous. This is absolutely ridiculous. What is happening? That was 275 in nothing, in no distance at all. Wow. Like, I'm taking this in for a moment. I'm going to slow down a lot. That was really fast. That was really, 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 really fast. Right, now I've had a few opportunities to put my foot down. Obviously it's dark, which doesn't exactly help. And this car is terrifyingly fast. It is so blisteringly quick. Drop the gears, fourth gear here, 5,000 RPM, foot down. It's relentless. Like, the speed just builds up so quickly that I don't know what to do about it. I need daytime to process, because at night, to be honest, it's accelerating too quickly for me to be able to take in what it's doing. It's clearly quicker than before. There's quite a different turbo delivery. So the previous update, the stage 1, gave you more power earlier, whereas now the full power is a little bit later. But when you get there, I mean, presumably it's still the same amount of power on the way there. When you get to that top end, and back down to fourth gear here, foot down. What is this? Just, I mean, that's up to 250 and I'm going onto the brakes because there's traffic ahead. Honestly, mind completely blown. And now the ballistic missile is back in the garage, and what a terrifying experience it actually is to drive. The car is so darn fast, and that's not how I thought I was going to be describing it, but I look forward to driving it in the daytime, in the dry, when I'm less panicky about quite how quickly it's picking up speed. But of course, since we left here in the garage to go to RENNtech, it's gained the turbos, the full R760 package, it's got those meshes inside the front inserts to protect it from damage, and of course, gone are the stickers, the Gumball 3000 vinyls and logos, but also the country camos. So we're back to the Dub Customs yellow wrap. We've got the contrast of the carbon fiber parts like the roof, the door mirrors, the rear spoiler. Around the front we have the now black and menacing front grille. We've also got posh washes, satin black wheels. I do like how we've got the yellow calipers that just go with that to complete the look, but I'm really, really fond of how this looks. Of course, it was done like this just before Gumball, then it got stickered up. So I haven't had much time other than at the Goodwood Festival Speed to enjoy it with this image, this appearance, but I've got a very long drive right ahead of me to head to an event with the car, so I'm going to get to experience more of what it's like to actually drive with these upgrades. But of course, it's been quite a long day getting it to the Nurburgring, then getting the car sorted out, getting all the glue off it. Believe me, I've spent hours today that you haven't actually seen getting rid of the glue that was left from the Gumball logos, the white and orange stickers. It took a long, long time. Then getting to the Nordschleife just in time for a lap, which was awesome fun, albeit very, very sketchy. And then the Autobahn's back towards Frankfurt, cruising with the GT3 RS that I don't think you saw too much. But also, don't forget, we've taken over BOTBs in the headlights this week. The link is down below if you'd like the chance to potentially win a Schmeemobile. More about that if you hit the link down below. But anyway, a huge thanks for now to RENNtech for their work on the car. And of course, as always, a thanks to you guys for watching. I appreciate it. Anyway, that's it for this time. I'll see you again very soon. Cheers.